In the blistering heart of the world, where magma flowed like rivers and the sky burned crimson from volcanic ash, a force stirred, ancient, wrathful, and alive. His name was Pumpkicks, a being born of lava, shaped by firestorms and hardened in the crucible of time. A lava elemental forged from searing heat, his body shimmered like molten obsidian and glowed with furious intensity. Where he walked, the ground cracked. Where he roared, the air rippled from heat. Pumpkicks was no mindless force of destruction. He was a prodigy, brilliant in combat strategy, and equipped with the crescent axe, a weapon so hot it could melt steel on contact. His strength ranked 11th among champions, but his durability, the armor of dragonhide, placed him high among the toughest in the world. His alignment was clear, a hero, though his methods were anything but gentle. Wherever injustice surged or tyranny flared, Pumpkicks would arrive, like the eruption of a volcano, sudden and devastating. But deep in the kingdom of Duskridge, a challenger rose to meet him, a war-torn realm ruled by the fearsome knight Cadrian, whose blade had silenced rebellions and whose chivalric oath now twisted into cruelty. It was said his titanium armor was unbreakable, and he kept a yeti as a war pet, a beast of frost and muscle, loyal and merciless. The match was set. The lava elemental would face the knight beneath a scorched sun. Only one would rise from the smoldering battlefield. The battlefield was chosen, Ember Pass, a jagged ravine between two active volcanoes, where the very air shimmered with heat and smoke painted the sky in shades of doom. It was here that Pumpkicks stood, molten fists clenched around his glowing crescent axe, his body pulsing with the rhythm of the Earth's core. From the distance, the sound of metal echoed through the haze. Cadrian, mounted atop a fire-resistant steed and flanked by his towering yeti, emerged from the smoke like a legend reborn. His titanium armor clanked with every step, his shield etched with the seal of ancient knighthood. But his presence was colder than steel, a man once noble, now consumed by conquest. Cadrian raised his blade high. The ground beneath Pumpkicks' feet began to harden. The knight's chivalric oath invoked a battlefield challenge, sealing their duel in an unspoken code of war. The lava elemental responded with a roar, swinging his axe and launching a burst of searing heat toward his foe. The yeti moved first, lunging forward with inhuman speed, ice crystallizing around its fists. It struck, but Pumpkicks countered with a spinning slash of his axe, molten embers spraying like a storm. The beast howled, retreating as steam hissed from its singed fur. Then the real duel began. Cadrian closed the distance with surprising speed for one burdened by such armor. His sword clashed against Pumpkicks' axe in a symphony of fire and steel. The knight's blows were precise, calculated. The craft of a mastermind, yet Pumpkicks' movements were born of instinct and battle-born brilliance. As they fought, the earth cracked and flames erupted around them, but neither yielded. It was a war of opposites, heat versus steel, rage versus reason. But in every clash, every block, every evasive step, it became clear. Pumpkicks was pushing Cadrian to his limit. The volcano roared as if echoing the fury of the fight below. Pumpkicks surged forward, molten veins glowing brighter with each swing of his crescent axe. Cadrian, though valiant, began to slow, his titanium armor growing heavier with every dodge, every parry. Sweat trickled down his brow beneath the visor, and his strikes, once crisp, began to falter. The yeti, sensing its master's weakening resolve, charged again with a primal growl, frost encasing its arms like gauntlets. But Pumpkicks didn't hesitate. With one mighty uppercut, he struck the creature's chest, sending a shockwave of magma through its body. The yeti froze mid-motion, its core overwhelmed by internal heat, and collapsed, steam billowing from its mouth as it hit the ash-covered ground. Cadrian let out a war cry, leaping through the smoke. He brought his blade down with all his strength, the full weight of his chivalric oath driving it. It struck true, slicing deep into Pumpkicks' shoulder. Molten blood hissed as it met air, and the elemental staggered. But instead of faltering, he grinned. The lava within him boiled hotter. Pain only made him stronger. With a growl that split the air, Pumpkicks grabbed the embedded blade with his bare hand, melting it down to the hilt. Kadrian recoiled, stunned, and that hesitation sealed his fate. Pumpkicks launched him skyward with a brutal upward swing. As Kadrian descended, flailing through fire and smoke, the elemental spun and unleashed a devastating horizontal strike. A blazing arc of magma followed the blade, colliding with the knight mid-air and hurling him into the side of the ravine wall. The ground quaked. The volcano responded. Lava erupted from the fissures, painting the battlefield in crimson light. And in the center stood Pumpkicks, wounded, scorched, but unchallenged, staring into the rising inferno. His victory was near. But something about Kadrian's fall didn't feel like the end. The battlefield fell into a tense stillness. Steam curled off scorched rocks. Ember Pass groaned beneath its cracked surface. And in the heart of the chaos, Pumpkicks stood motionless. Lava trickling from his wounds, his crescent axe still glowing white-hot in his grip. From the rubble, a weak cough broke the silence. Kadrian dragged himself from the cratered wall. Armor melted in places, visor shattered. His limbs trembled, but his eyes, burning with stubborn resolve, met Pumpkicks' gaze. "I will not yield," the knight rasped. But Pumpkicks didn't speak. He didn't need to. Instead, he raised his axe, pointing it toward the sky. The volcano answered. A massive fissure split open behind him. Molten fire surged upward in a spiraling inferno. Not wild, but focused, as if drawn to Pumpkicks' core. The searing heat effect reached its apex, forming a blazing vortex that crowned the elemental like a god of flame. This was no longer just a duel, it was a reckoning. Kadrian tried to rise again, swordless, bruised, broken. But his snail-speed reflexes gave him no chance to react. Pumpkicks launched forward, moving with explosive aggression, a blur of heat and fury. One final swing of the axe carved through the air, and with it ended the fight. Kadrian collapsed for good. The lava around them cooled as if satisfied. The volcano quieted. Pumpkicks stood over his defeated foe. He didn't strike again. There was no need. The hero had won. Not out of mercy, but dominance. The lava elemental had bested a knight, a mastermind, a monster's master. The Yeti's corpse smoldered nearby. Kadrian's chivalric oath was broken, and from that moment forward, Ember Pass was no longer known for its volcanoes. It was known as the place where a champion of flame named Pumpkicks was crowned in fire.